All right, we're heading down to the southern Indian state of Kerala, where something pretty big just happened in the world of politics. In the capital city of Thiruvananthapuram, decades of political tradition have just been completely turned on their head. So let's dive in and break down what went down. And right off the bat, you've got this quote from Prime Minister Narendra Modi, which frames a local city election as a huge national event. So you gotta ask, right? What exactly makes a victory in a single city a watershed moment? So first up, let's unpack just how historic this win really is. I mean, to really get why this is blowing up on the national stage, you have to look at the political map that it just completely redrew. This really says it all. Think about it. For more than 40 years, the Left Democratic Front was the dominant force in the capital city's government. So this election? It's a huge break from that long, long era. And it's not just about winning a bunch of seats. No, the really big deal here is what it represents. This victory means that the state of Kerala is about to get its first ever mayor from the BJP. For the party, that is a massive breakthrough in the south. So, how did this all happen? Was it just some sudden political fluke? Or was this something that's been building up for a while? Well, the numbers, they tell a really fascinating story of steady, consistent growth. Okay, so check out this chart. You can see a very clear trend line going up. Just a few elections ago, the party barely had a presence. Then, boom, a huge jump that made them the main opposition. And now you can see they've basically launched into a clear majority. It just goes to show this was a long game, a strategy that's been in the works for a decade, and it finally paid off. And here it is, the magic number, 50. In a corporation with 101 wards, hitting that 50-seat mark, that gives them a straight-up outright majority to govern. No questions asked. It's the finish line for that journey we just saw on the chart. Now, a win like this isn't just about the numbers. It's also about the message. And a huge part of their campaign message was this idea of a double-engine government. You might have heard that term before, but what does it actually mean? Okay, so the idea is pretty simple, really. It's when you have the same party in charge at the national level and at the local level. The thinking is that this creates, a kind of synergy, supposed to cut through all the political gridlock and red tape, get the money flowing, and just speed everything up. And here's how they took that big idea and made it super real for the voters. The key promise was that with a BJP-led corporation, the city would get 100% benefit from all the national government's programs. It's a direct link between local leadership and the central government's big agenda. Okay, so that's the big vision. But what about the nitty-gritty? What did they actually promise the people of the city? Let's dig into their manifesto, because it lays out a pretty detailed plan for change. So the campaign's pitch was basically, we're a clean alternative. They promised a government that was free of corruption, totally transparent through digital systems, and would even bring services right to your doorstep. And they were directly contrasting all of this with what they described as the inefficiency of the government that was already in power. And they didn't just promise change, they promised it fast. They promised to hit the ground running with this 45-day action plan. It was all about showing voters, hey, we're ready to go from day one. And we'll have a public roadmap for you to see almost immediately. Now, this is pretty clever. Instead of trying to reinvent the wheel for every local problem, they promised to borrow solutions that have already worked. So for a big issue like waste management, they said, look at the indoor model. It works. For drainage, we'll use the SORIT model. They were basically promising to bring in proven systems that have worked wonders in other cities. And they were thinking big, too, not just about the immediate problems. We're talking housing for everyone, major upgrades to roads and airports, cleaning up local rivers, even making medicine more affordable. And the grand finale, the big promise, to turn the city into one of the top 3 most developed cities in all of India by 2030. That's a huge goal. Okay, so let's pull back for a second. What's the bigger story being told here? Because according to the winning party, this election wasn't just about fixing streetlights, it was about making a fundamental choice about the future direction of the entire state. So they're framing this win as a clear mandate for something they're calling Vikasita Keralam, which basically translates to a developed Kerala. The argument they're making is that voters in the capital have clearly said they want a politics that's all about development, infrastructure, and growth. And this quote from our source material just ties it all together perfectly. They see the win as sending 2 clear messages. First, a rejection of what they call traditional politics, and second, a big vote of confidence for the Prime Minister's national vision for development, just brought down to the city level. And that leaves us with one final crucial question. This was a huge win in one very important city. But here's the big question. Can this development-first blueprint actually be repeated elsewhere? And does this landmark win in the capital really signal a whole new political chapter for the rest of the state? Well, I guess only time will tell.